Hello, my name is Brianna Sinclair, and this is my 16th week transition video update. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear your support, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please voice those so I can address them. But let's jump right into the video. So this is my 16th week. My quick measurements update. My hips are 34 and a quarter. My bust is 34 and 5/8, and my waist is 25 and a half. So my measurements haven't really changed a whole lot, which is fine. I think at the end of this week I should be out of my current prescription, and I'll be taking my new updated prescription, which has me taking more spironolactone and estradiol, which means my estrogen level should go up and my testosterone level should drop, so that way I can feel more of the effects and start reaching the normal female range in hormones. Let's go. My emotional range has very much plateaued. I am in complete control of my emotions, even for the most part sadness, which I previously struggled with because initially as a boy it was extremely hard for me to feel. I could go through just about anything and not shed a tear. Whenever I first started, I would cry over everything, and it was, so I had to start to practice control of my emotions, because I would go to work and my mascara could run, so I would have to segue my train of thought so that way I didn't mess up my current makeup. I do feel like my strength is kind of dissipating at some points. I do know I am getting more fatigued quicker, very much so. I went out with, so on Fridays I usually work out, and my method of working out is usually I play a game. And I was playing Ultimate Frisbee this past Friday, and I was consistently tired. We start out good, but after the first turnover, I was consistently holding my chest and feeling my whole body hurt, which I kind of expected. I didn't expect it so soon. I did know it was gonna happen quick, but not this quick. Yeah, I'm still discovering that my muscle mass is leaving me and going away. So I do have to find out how to do different things, different ways, because previously if I couldn't get something loose on my car or something like that, I could manhandle it. Now I have to use leverage, breaker bars, and a lot of other things I've never had to use. But it is what it is. It is a little bit rough for me to do things sometimes because of my energy level, so I do find myself tired very much and very often, and I do try and take care of myself for the most part, because I still want to put out these videos for everyone, and I want to be able to do everything I need to do. Because I did read one of the comments asking how I have 2 jobs and I make these videos. I have 2 full-time jobs, one of which is contractual, so I am oftentimes there more than 40 hours a week. The other one, I am there 35-ish hours a week, which is considered full-time, but is made up for my other job, the hours that I'm not working 40 hours a week. As for these videos are very easy for me to make because I enjoy making them. Oops, sorry. I do enjoy making these videos because these are like essentially a digital diary for me. It's something for me to look back on and be like, wow, that's how I used to be, that's how I used to sound, that's what I used to look like. And I'm not seeing any changes personally as far as like fat redistribution or anything like that, because I am very early on in my transition. It takes so incredibly long to even see those changes, which I feel like is a good reason why some transgender women do opt into doing like a BBL or something like that, so they can essentially speed up the fat redistribution where like they want to, and they can kind of guide it and tailor it to what they want. I'm just living my life as happy as can be because I finally started. It took me so long to get started. It was causing me anxiety. In a way, because I finally like stepped out and did it and told the truth about what I was feeling to everyone, and it was good to get that off my chest. And I was told I could start HRT and everything like that. I just needed to write some paperwork to make sure that it wouldn't affect my current job, and that I had permission to by essentially like the director of where I'm at. And I'm still currently waiting on the exception of policy. I can be on all the hormones I want, but every day I go into work I have to boy mode to an extent because I'm not allowed to currently abide by the female standards that are put forth by me. Well, not by me, by my job. And I'm essentially getting a waiver that allows me to do that, and that's what I look forward to doing. I look forward to receiving the approval that I can do it, and that's what I'm excited for. This past week, my exception of policy, which is that waiver, got kicked back to me. Previously, I was looking for a blank copy of one to fill out, so that way I could turn in and be like, here's the legwork that I've done. What do I need to do now? Which is essentially what I'm doing. Is like, what's the next step? What do I need to do here? What's here? What do you need from me? And I go through it trying to make sure that I'm not going to offend anybody or make any of my coworkers uncomfortable, because I do work with females, and I'm not trying to come off as like some pervert, because I respect them and they respect me, and I want to keep it that way. So my current exception to policy does have me outlining what I'm trying to get an exception to. It's mainly the standards and stuff like that that I'm looking for, but does give me like the option to use the female like stay facilities and like the restrooms and stuff like that. And I personally don't feel like I would be accepted in the female restroom or the stay overnight areas in case we do have to stay overnight. And I don't want to infringe upon what's been offered to me and take advantage of it. At the end of my transition, sure, and I was told that like it's really easy to just amend that portion, and so that's what I plan to do, is only use like what is absolutely necessary, because the initial thought was, do I need to check everything that I want off at the beginning and then only use what I need, thus maintaining the integrity and respect that I have towards my female coworkers, because I'm not trying to offend them in any way. And that was only like, and that would be preferable if like I could either reroute it or amend it. I could only check off the things that I deem necessary, and then later on, whenever they do become more applicable, check off the other things. Or if it was a one-time shot. If it's a one-time shot, I would rather just check them all off and only use what is 100% like what I need. Like if I were to check it off right now, I would only use the female standards portion and still use the men's restroom and stuff like that, because I still go, I'm still recognized as a male in that job. They do know that I'm transitioning, and I don't want to confuse anybody, so because I present as a male there, I go by he and him there. But whenever I'm presenting as a female, I do expect to be called she and her, because it's not hard to recognize whenever somebody is in what would like to be using she and her pronouns. And that's what I think is funny. A lot of times it's made this big deal when it's so simple, because they are just words, and we do give them power, but because they're just words, it's easy. And that's like the whole point of it, is it's not to be a disrespect towards those people that are using those pronouns. It is to help the individual and stuff like that. So if by not using those pronouns you are deliberately being disrespectful to that person, if they correct you and let you know, hey, I would like to go by this, if you intentionally do it after, you are being disrespectful, and you know it, because I have misgendered people, and they've corrected me. It's happened to me before, and the hard part is if you know them for a long time and you're used to it. That's whenever there's a little leeway. But if you don't know that person, it should be it's super easy, because you have no prior history with that person to go off your interactions with. And that's my take on it. At least pronouns. They're so easy, and I think it's funny that people make a big deal out of them. If I met somebody who looked very masculine and told me that they would like to use she and her pronouns, whether or not they look like they were a full male or not, I would respect them and use their pronouns that they desire, because I don't care. If they correct me, I would be more than happy to accommodate that, because I'm not trying to create hate and discontent through this channel, even in my personal life. I am simply trying to make the world a better place, even if it's just one little video at a time. And if that's all I can do, then that's all I can do. That's my exception to policy bit. As of right now, I do have an appointment with my doctor, which is to help me abide more of like the physical standards. I just need a waiver from him, or a memo from him. And then I can route that with my exception to policy as an enclosure, and it should be all good to go. Allegedly. Allegedly. I've been hearing it was good to go for months. And I can't wait to have it done. Fendi decided not to join me because he's a little traitor tonight. He's kind of like chilling out in the rest of the house. I do expect to see more changes with my change in prescription. I don't expect them to be exaggerated or anything like that. I just expect the most significant change would be my hormone levels verging more closely to that of a biological female's or a cis woman's. And that's the most significant change I would expect. I think my next endocrinology appointment's in December, and that's where they usually check up on my levels. I'm not allowed to eat the morning of, and so because I have to take my medicine with my food, I wait till after my appointment to go get something to eat and take my medicine. So I'm hoping that this new addition to my medication will cause my hormone levels to diverge even further from that of a male's, and more towards that of a biological female's. And that's ultimately the goal. And over time, that should change my body structure to resemble that more of a female's. Obviously not like my primary sex characteristics, but some of my secondary sex characteristics can change. But it won't be exaggerated. Like, even now, I did grow breast tissue so far. And I have heard that my face is rounding out a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure about that. That could be attributed to, because I don't notice that. I haven't noticed that yet, at least. That could be attributed to the hormones because they do slow down my metabolism, which causes me to burn calories a lot slower, which would help me essentially gain weight, and maybe that is the part of my body that is filling out. And that would be, I guess, my face. As far as my breast growth goes, they still hurt. They're getting a little bit bigger. I'm getting a little bit of protrusion, to where it kind of like pops out a little bit more from like my chest and giving me a little bit more shape. But I still have a long way to go, and I'm truly expecting my chest to stop hurting at any point and my breast tissue to stop growing, because my family is not well endowed in that area. We usually have very small breasts. At least the other women in my family go. But that's nothing against them. That's just our biology, and I do plan to have a breast augmentation to give me the size I was looking for, and to help me be more passable as a woman, because I do listen to other transgender content and stuff like that, and it is true that the goal is to go under the radar, and I recognize that these videos are a little bit counterproductive towards that, because this is me saying I am a transgender woman. So clicking on these videos, you are fully aware of what I'm going through. I'm on prescription medication, and a lot of things could be made on that assumption alone, or a lot of assumptions can be made on that knowledge alone. But the idea and the goal is to go through my day-to-day life living as a woman. That's it. Not drawing attention to myself as a transgender woman or anything like that, but being able to go out into the world and not be harassed for being a man in a dress or something like that, because that's not necessarily true. If the definition of man and woman is looked at closer, transgender women are women. Because true, the first definition of a woman is like an adult biological female, but it is also somebody who presents those characteristics that would normally be presented by a female, thus making transgender women women. And that's how that works. That is a dictionary definition that is 100% Googleable. And that's the goal, is to be able to dress how I want, do my makeup, do my hair, go to the salon, and people not look at me as though I'm weird getting my nails done or having a manicure, pedicure, being able to go into a makeup store and purchase the makeup that I need or that I desire, so that way I can not be harassed by other men and women that may perceive me as just a man. And that is the goal, because as of right now I am mentally stable, and to the point where whenever I do get called he and him and stuff like that, I take it as I'm not being feminine enough to get that point across. So I take it as a form of constructive criticism. And that's it. That's all I take it as, because I don't want to create this stigma that we're mentally unstable, because we're not. Transgender women are mentally stable, especially whenever they have their hormones and stuff like that. If they've reached a suicidal state, yes, they're not 100% stable, because they're experiencing something that is incredibly hard to explain and go through, because it's something so simple that most children know, hey, I'm a boy, I'm like these other people, or I'm a girl, so I fit in with these people. Whenever we recognize, even from an early age, we're not like what people think we are. I've seen it many times where a child has said no, I'm a girl, and has been very insistent, persistent, and consistent with it, that they are a girl this whole time. They go through it, and those are usually the ones that grow up and have the bigger issues with transitioning. And when I say that, I mean they're the ones with the biggest issues as far as being suicidal and stuff like that, because they've been living with it for so long, and with it being so controversial for children, it making it harder for them. They do have to go through a couple more hoops than an adult would, and that makes it harder for them, exacerbating their anxiety and stuff like that, because it makes them feel like they're never going to be accepted. I didn't have to go through that because I didn't know. I knew I was different. I knew I was not like other people, and I was such an introvert towards them that I didn't like them for the most part. I knew I liked women, and I knew that I could be with a man if I so needed to, because I never cared who I was with as long as they loved me unconditionally. Because to me, love is like really simple that way. I could be with either, and I ended up with my wife because she was the first one to treat me the way that she has, and from the evidence I've seen, she would be the only one to treat me the way that I want to be treated. And that's what I go through. For me, I didn't know, so I went through puberty. I went through a full male puberty. I went through the alienation and everything like that of being a male. And now I get to live my life as a woman. And it is so much better because I am much more accepted and stuff like that than most people would think. And that's what I'm hoping to build and expand upon. Because even though there are so many places that are trying to get rid of us because they think that we're perverts or something like that, we just want to live our life. We want to wake up, go to work, come home, live a normal life. We don't have some secret agenda or anything like that. It's comical to me that people think that there's this great big conspiracy, because to me that sounds like we all get around like this big table once a week and discuss our plans and what strides we've made towards this ridiculous conspiracy agenda that I think is hilarious, because it is a 100% lie. I find it funny because it is so ridiculous. We're not the United Nations of transgender women. We don't get together that way. I would imagine that none of them, except for like a couple, even know I exist. I do know that some of my subscribers are transgender. I would imagine most of them are, and I'm only doing this because this is my virtual diary towards myself. That way I can look at like my views and my measurements and stuff like that and be like, wow, I remember being that small and that like petite, or like I remember thinking that way and stuff like that, and just kind of like seeing how like my views change, how my evolution and mental state and physical being like evolve. And I do hear like some ridiculous claims and stuff like that, and I do think that those are funny as well, like us going through a female puberty. It's not, and that's not entirely true. It can be compared, but they are not, definitely not the same. If you are on injections, it is closer to a female puberty because it does affect your mental state, because how it works is you are taking this sudden inrush of estrogen that for the first couple days has a serious mental effect on you. So you're very emotional. But other than that, it's very standard, because after those couple days it teeters off. And then you do it again next week, and the week after, and the week after. For me, I am taking this consistent regimen of medication where I take daily. So if there is any ups and downs, they're so minor that I don't even notice them. And they're usually unnoticeable by other people. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everything that's happened this week so far, and my views. I do appreciate everyone that has commented and subscribed. I love responding to y'all and trying to give you all the support I can. Just keep in mind, I am very new at this too. This is not something that, like, I've ever done before, so I am going through this the best way I know how. And if you would like to support me, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to hear more of your views and answer any more questions that y'all have. Because I would like to try and turn this channel into this community of, like, acceptance. That way, people who are just coming out or trying to come out have a place to turn. Because there's not a lot of places, there's not enough places like that. Even on Facebook, in looking up at medical and research, doctors and stuff like that, I would go through, like, I would try to add myself into some groups and stuff like that to get views from other people as far as, like, how their experience was with this person, or how their before and after results went. And I do remember one group not accepting me because I hadn't changed my gender on there to female or woman. And I was kind of banned from that group, which is fine by me. I did respond to them and be like, listen, this is the situation. And they're like, that's fine. We recognize that this is a group that does have transgender women in it. We just don't want somebody who's identifying as a male in the group. And I said, I understand that. I just can't be out just yet. And they're like, we understand, but the rules are rules. And so that was that. Since then, I have changed my gender markers on my social media and stuff like that. So that way, I am presenting more myself as part of my social transition. There's, like, your social transition and then your medical transition. This one would be me in my social transition, where I am still gaining the confidence to go out and present as me. And my medical transition would be the point where I graduate to getting surgeries and stuff like that. I was trying to find a descriptor word better for it, but if I just call it that, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that means. And those are, like, the core surgeries. They would, me graduating to that point would let me do SRS, FFS, and breast augmentation, and a BBL. And as discussed before, the method that I would like to do them still has not changed. I would still like to do FFS, BBL, and then breast augmentation, and I don't intend to get SRS because I don't feel dysphoric about my primary sex characteristics, only my secondary sex characteristics, which is what I outlined whenever my psychiatrist read aloud the DSM-5 as to what gender dysphoria was. And I explained to him, yes, I meet all that criteria from the DSM-5, which is the current edition that we're on at this time, except for the primary sex characteristics. And because I wanted to be honest, I was like, yes, I feel all of these things except that one. That one does not apply to me. Because initially I did go into my psychiatrist and therapy appointments hoping that they would tell me that something different was wrong with me and that it was treatable. because I was initially afraid of losing everything that I had at that time, including my wife. Starting my therapy and stuff like that, I was diagnosed after a couple months of going to therapy, and I was referred out to my psychiatrist, who recognized, yes, I do struggle with gender dysphoria very evidently, and that I would need help navigating my transition. And in doing so, they opened a couple avenues for me, so that way I was more informed about everything and stuff like that, and got more information, like what was outlined in the DSM-5. I really didn't know that that's how it was diagnosed. But they also diagnosed me with gender dysphoria as like a second opinion. So I do have my diagnosis most assuredly uploaded and everything into all of my medical stuff. And because it is, that allows me to take my hormone therapy, my HRT, and do my 1-year wait to allow the hormones to take effect so I can medically transition. And that's what I am waiting on. These videos are kind of the countdown to that, but I do plan to expand them beyond that if it's desired. I do want to at least keep the community around, because I want people to know that somebody cares. I don't want people who are afraid of being like abandoned or anything like that to not have a place to turn to, or to be stuck in a position where they have no other choice but to let their gender dysphoria and anxiety, sorry, I'm having trouble talking today. It was a very long day for me. So they don't have their gender dysphoria and their anxiety are not causing them such distress that they feel like suicide is even an option, because it shouldn't be. I don't think that any transgender woman should be turned away from their family just for being transgender. It's a very poor excuse to me to justify, like, or to like, not justify, but to essentially blackmail this person into being mentally unhealthy, when all they want to do is do what is best for them for a change, just like I did. I didn't know for so long because I took my mental health for granted, and I dove headfirst into work, projects, hobbies, and stuff like that. I never took the time to figure myself out. And then when given that time, I was able to sit down and recognize that this is not right for me. It just wasn't right. And I do recognize that a lot of my attraction to women could easily have been like misguided, good lord, I'm blanking on what the words I'm trying to use. Misguided envy, or misdirected envy towards them, because yes, I wanted to look like a woman, definitely from a young age. And me being married to a woman, my knee is so bruised. Me being married to a woman, did open a couple doors for me and made me realize a couple things. One of them being that, yes, I am transgender. But that not being all the way true. Because I still love my wife. I am making my steps at her pace and her comfort because I am not ready to even entertain the thought of losing her. And it's funny, the estrogen has actually made my feelings toward her grow a little bit more, which I thought previously impossible. Very much possible. Estrogen's an amazing thing, and it is changing my life for the drastically better. And that's what I enjoy about my transition, is that my life has improved so much that it's insane to me. It's gotten harder in some ways, sure, but my quality of life is so much different, and it makes me feel so much better than before. Anyway, I think that's enough for today. If you like my content, please support me by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I would love to answer your questions and hear your comments, and being able to answer your questions. And if you would like to see something very specific, please let me know. I would like to cater to my audience a lot more by giving you all the content that you actually want. Anyway, this is Brianna Sinclair, signing off.